Hello. This is The Making of a Moor Woman, brought to you by Moor Society Incorporated. I'm the founder, Christopher McGee. Today's recording is probably one of the most important pieces. As you know, the Moor Society is a cultural educational program for Black America. Our focus is the study of Negro social studies in an effort to develop a more refined African American culture. This particular channel, The Making of a Moor Woman, is dedicated to the life journey of a woman. This particular video focuses on what could be the focal point of the entire the educational platform, as well as the African village. And those of you who may not recall, the African village is an institution within the Moor Society's umbrella dedicated to women, to their education, their preparation, their advancement. Now, in two parts. Our first part, it focuses on the three pillars on which we live and exist: our human nature, our sexuality and gender, manhood, womanhood, and then our personality and character. These are the three strands that throughout our lives intertwine, interwoven, and will stretch throughout our existence. Now, we live in a society greatly influenced by European cultures. In our society, emphasis is put on academics, scholarship, credentialism, politics. We'll put a great deal of emphasis on money and stature that comes with financial gain, centered around the material world. And if you're not careful, many people will make the mistake of trying to define themselves along that line. And this is unhealthy. It's no good. From one society, one culture, one nation to another, how what you do for a living, your career, how your academics will apply your credentials, whether or not they're even useful, your politics, all these things will change and vary from one place to another. But the quintessential you, no matter where you go or what you do, no matter who you are, young or old, being in your humanity, your manhood, your womanhood, and your place in the universal scope of human personality and character will always be with you. This makes you who you are. Every young man and every young woman, and this is targets of pubescent men and pubescent women, adolescent men and adolescent women, no matter the people, the places, the things, or the idea. If they if it doesn't contribute to your growth and development, then it's no good. Every idea in your life that's influencing the way you think, the way you function, if it's not centered on making you a more whole human being, if it's not preparing you for the many hats that you will wear as a man and a woman, if you're not learning to be a better, more defined, more unique and specific individual, then it's no good. The people that you bring into your life, friends, associates, people you want to date and get involved with intimately, the places you go, if these things aren't helping you learn to be a better you, then it's no good. You make decisions on that base. As you grow from junior high school to high school to college, or go off to the military, know that the people with whom you keep company And the thoughts you put in your head, the books you read, the movies, the magazines, films, always take note of how these things affect you, how they impact your life, your perception of you, and your place in the world. Now, the second part, we're focusing on the hierarchy of human needs. This primarily comes from Maslow's hierarchy. Now, this is a pyramid. This is designed as a pyramid, and from the least to the greatest, what we're looking at is 8 different levels, marking our needs and their importance from the least to the greatest. At the base, we have the physiological needs. Next level is safety needs. The level after that is belonging, the need to belong and to be to love and be loved. Level 4 is esteem. Next is cognitive needs, aesthetic needs, self-actualization, and the last is transcendency, or what I like to refer to as spiritual enlightenment. Now, the hierarchy of human needs is important to understand because in our growth and development as people, how we learn to fulfill and aid in the fulfillment of our needs will make all the difference in the world in our ability to advance and grow to be healthy and balanced individuals. But it also makes a difference in terms of how we learn to care for each other. If you study and learn how to engage your physiological needs, learn to fulfill your needs efficiently, learn to function in terms of your needs for safety, for esteem, for cognitive needs, your aesthetic needs, your pursuit to self-actualization and spiritual enlightenment, the more you learn in fulfilling your needs in your quest to be more, to be whole, the better you will be able to relate to others and connect with others. One of the biggest problems in America is that so much of what we've learned as Black Americans has been whitewashed by white people. Eurocentric thinking. When we talk about relationships, people talk about flowers and candy. They talk about long walks on the beach and candlelight dinners and all the romantic stuff, garbage you see on TV, all the fluff. But what we never deal with is the reality of life, living. Relationships are about people sharing their lives. A man's life, how he grows, how he develops, how he matures, how he advances. A woman's life, how she grows, how she learns. The systematic forms of development that give shape to her, be they academic, religious, cultural, paramilitary, how men and women learn and grow. This is life. Relationships are about two people sharing their lives, two people coming together to survive together, to grow and develop together, to advance together. Two people putting something with something to make a big and better something. Relationships are about the hierarchy of human needs. It's about the role and the responsibility both men and women have to come together, put their tools and resources together, and make a fair contribution. The man contributing to his woman, the woman contributing to her man to meet the needs. On the physiological level, the need for food, water, clothing, warmth, rest. These are the primary needs, the first floor. If building your life was like a building, and the top, the penthouse, was the spiritual enlightenment, the ground level, you want to focus on the physiological needs. If this was a company and you were employed to be a laborer and you took an entrance level position, your focus would be all of those jobs pertaining to food, clothing, shelter, health, physical health, rest, is to clean, cleanliness, right? And then after the man and the woman, both their needs are met on that level, then you advance to the next grade. You go from the first grade to the second grade, from the physiological need to the needs to be safe and secure. This is muy importante. I know for you pubescents and adolescents, you get off into the romance and the hugs and the kisses, and a lot of you are trying to have sex. And before you know it, relationships has become this adolescent misconception. This just this all these romantic ideas, these religious superstitions, all twisted and concocted into some half-ass idea that's ultimately useless. Relationships are defined by the nature of people relating, the nature of their associating, how you associate, how you connect, how you relate, the role and responsibility each person has for each other. This is the nature of relationships. The teacher student relationship. Teacher has a role, students have a role. Teacher have responsibilities, student have responsibilities. A teacher can't teach if the student ain't learning. If the student ain't willing to learn and be a student, the teacher can't teach him nothing. The relationship is their connection. Well, this is the nature of all relationships, the connection. And there's no greater connection than the connections made when two people come together to fulfill each other's needs. Now, once you're on a relationship and the man and the woman have taken provided for their physiological needs and safety needs, you graduate to the need to belong, to love, and be loved. Your need to love and your need to belong. Your need to friendships and intimate connections. But it's important to understand this is all progressive, proactive, and it's all inclusive. You don't decide that because you've been in a relationship so long and you're focused on love and belonging that you forget about the physiological needs, that you forget about the need to be safe and secure. No, they all fall together. They all fall together. And for husbands and wives and in marital relationships, you got the business of it, holy matrimony. Let's go over that. Let's go over that again. The institution of holy matrimony is like any other institution, like a church, like a government, like a corporation. You have the business side and the purpose. The business side is how you administrate, manage, and finance the institution. The other is the purpose. It's what need will we fulfill? What services will we provide? What goods will we produce? Who will we market? Who will we contribute to? How will we assess that our services are successful, that our goods are fulfilling the need? How will we learn to improve and grow? How will we continue over an extended period of time to provide a quality of service and quality of good extended? How do we continue to maintain that level of quality? The purpose of your relationship, the purpose that you will serve, the mission of your marriage, the vision of your marriage. What are the different roles and responsibilities, and how will you two share in your effort to meet the need? In the institution of holy matrimony, the man and the woman take responsibility for each other. They take care of each other. No one person's needs outweigh the needs of the other. So, in your institution, your purpose must outline how to meet those needs for esteem, No, cognitive needs. Where esteem, you're dealing with a person's prestige, their feelings of accomplishment. How will you celebrate your companion and their hard work? How you will reward them for a job well done? Then you're dealing with the cognitive needs, the needs to know, the need to understand, the needs to explore, the need for predictability and to find meaning in yourself and in the world around you. Both men and women have these needs, and the institution of holy matrimony must have the tools and the resources and have a game plan to meet these needs for both parties. When you when you're dealing with knowledge, that's in cognitive needs. That is where education. Now, education is a systematic form of development. Education can be the academic, like you get at school, public school. It can be ecclesiastic, like you get at the church. It can be cultural and ethnic, as you would at a cultural organization. It can be social, where you get with a civic group or a fraternity, a social organization. Each one addressing competencies and specific needs, specific areas of life. Being educated is more than just what you gain in school. Um, to have and so cognitive needs are more than just going to, it's not just about school and classes. When you hear about knowledge and understanding, don't think for a minute that it's just one area here or one area there. To be a whole human being, you have to look at the spectrum. Okay, when you start talking about aesthetic needs, the need to see beauty in nature, beauty in art, to see the symmetry in the world, balance and order. Huh? This is a higher need. Every man, every woman has this need. And whether you are married or you're just living together, whether you've stood before a judge or a priest, or if you're just two people who love each other and want to share your lives, the hierarchy of human needs, these are a great responsibility, and there's no substitute for them. Your relationship, your fellowship together has to address this need as it does even the most basic physiological ones. From aesthetic needs, you have self-actualization, which is achieving one's full potential, including creativity and creative activities. Supporting your husband and his need to write a book, to paint, to sculpture. A man supporting his wife's need to write poetry, to make clothing, to make drapes, to make quilts. So I know women growing up, they used to make these beautiful quilts, and the quilts would have patches that basically tell a story, and they could make each quilt about specific to people based on their life experiences, their school, children, the time they spent in the military, all of this stuff. These are artistic expressions, writing music and singing, artistic expression. Now they might sing in a church, they might sing in a community choir, but it's their ability to express themselves artistically. This is a need, and it's important to respect that. Respect your need, respect hers, and be supportive. And understand that your institution of marriage, it must be in your agenda to give this support. And last but certainly not least, spiritual enlightenment. You don't forget the man upstairs. His Majesty created us in his likeness, and for us to evolve into him, to embrace who and what we are, what he created us to be, What our fathers what our fathers made, what our mothers birthed. All of this is part of a greater plan. We are responsible for our contribution in that plan. We as men and women are the only thing created out of sync. Everything else in the terrestrial sphere falls in line with the laws of His Majesty. His Highness gave us higher awareness because we represent the one creation that chooses to embrace the beat and the rhythm to which God created us. And we, by faith and by love, choose to dance to that rhythm and let it become a part of our everyday activities, be part of everything we do and how we do it. That beat, that rhythm, we walk in the light of His Majesty. We live in pursuit of that enlightenment because that enlightenment is how we become part of something bigger than ourselves. Long after a man and woman have passed away, the institution of holy matrimony they created lives on in their children and their grandchildren, their great grandchildren. All the things you teach your children, they carry with them. And this is why culture is so important. We take in what was given to us by our great great grandparents, we preserve it while working to invest in it. And when the time comes, we pass it down to our children with instruction on how to teach their children, which is what culture and ethnicity is all about. There's nothing more sacred than the fellowship of a man and woman. From that fellowship is where everything else evolves. Man, woman, the children they birth, and so on and so forth. So for young men and women embarking on your life's journey, advancing from puberty and adolescence into young adulthood, don't lose sight of the three strands: your person, your womanhood, your human nature. Don't forget that these are three strands tightly woven, and that every day you feed you by embracing the ideas, the people, the places, and the things that contribute to your growth and your development, teaching you to be a more whole human being, to be a more defined individual, to be a stronger and apt, prepared woman or man. And in terms of the hierarchy of human needs, understand you have the hierarchy of human needs, your companion has that hierarchy, and ultimately, when you come together and create your union, the institution of holy matrimony itself will have a hierarchy. But we're going to get off into that. There's the making of a Moor marriage and family on that channel. We have recordings and videos the Moor Society has pertaining to marriage and family. There we discuss uh, the strands, the three strands, as well as the the hierarchy of human needs. But on that channel, we will focus on how men and women work together to meet the needs of the institution, the marital institution, in its hierarchy of needs. uh, but we're going to get to that one step at a time. First, we learn to care for ourselves. And the more we learn to care for ourselves and fulfill our needs, we learn to cook and clean for ourselves. We learn to pray and meditate for ourselves. When we meet that special person and we establish that significant fellowship with our significant other, we learn to share. We do for them as we've done for ourselves. They do for us as they've done for themselves. And that's where men and women come together in order to make the institution of holy matrimony flourish. You have to plant healthy seeds. You have to nurture it, nurse it, and care for it. You got to get everything it needs to blossom. This is the key to advancing ourselves as individual and as an African American people. Now, if you found anything I've said useful, please tap the button, mark subscribe, and tap the button mark like, and keep your eyes open for future videos addressing the Moor Society, its philosophy, and kind of these videos, of course, these recordings are designed to give you just a little bit of taste of the direction the Moor Society is going in terms of its curriculum. Because this institution of cultural education, we want to address every need of the black man and woman, his marital relationship, his family, his extended family, his community. If we're going to get better as a people, it won't just happen coincidentally. It won't just happen. We have to make it happen. We have to invent our future. And we can do it working together. So y'all keep your ears open for the next one here. I'll get at you.